Welcome to Gunsmoke Theater. I'm Dennis Daly. Very few radio or television programs had such an impact on their medium that they changed everything. One of those shows was Gunsmoke. Yes, it ran 20 years on television, but the TV show was a child of the radio show, which itself ran nearly a decade. Sit back now for the next hour as we go back into the archives and play some of those great episodes of the show that changed everything, Gunsmoke. As we look back at the classic shows of radio, we have to again thank those people who have gone out of their way to preserve those programs. Many of these shows have come from our good friend Don Aston. And when it comes to archiving radio, the sources, well, they're myriad. One of the ways we've had so many of the old radio shows come to us in modern times has been through Armed Forces Radio. Now, during the war, as you know, they produced V-discs. Those were disposable records shipped to the armed forces overseas that could be played on little record players so the guys and gals in far-flung parts of the world could hear the shows. And so many of those shows that would not be preserved otherwise are preserved because the guys and gals brought those records home. When Gunsmoke was running in the 1950s, it was being carried on Armed Forces Radio. But Armed Forces Radio can't let the commercials go through. So what do they do to fill time? Well, they put in spots about the military. So here's a show from 1957, the way it was broadcast on Armed Forces Radio.
Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful. And a little lonely.
I think that come from down there someplace, Mr. Dillon.
Well, let's take a look.
My golly, I don't know. There sure ain't no sign of nobody.
Now, that was in back of the Dodge house between it and the livery stable. Come on.
Sounded like it. What in the thunder are they shooting at?
I don't know.
Well, it sure did sound like somebody yelled after that first shot.
Look, Chester, wait here and keep an eye on the street. I'm going to walk on toward the back of the livery stable, huh?
Well, all right, but you be careful back there in the dark now.
Oh, no. No call to get spooked. All right. Come on out of there. You hear me?
You go mind your own business. You better drift, mister. You buy more trouble than you can handle. Let go of me.
Give me that gun.
You got no right to...
When you throw a rifle on somebody, young lady, it'd scare 'em more if you close the breech block. And reload it, maybe, when it's a single shot.
Oh, darn single shot. I'd have got him hadn't been for that. That and the bad light.
Got who?
None of your goddamn business.
It might be. I'm the U.S. Marshal here in Dodge.
Marshal?
Chester!
Coming, Mr. Dillon.
How old are you, young lady?
Well, I've passed my teens.
You don't live around here, do you?
I wouldn't live up here if I owned it. I'm panhandle. I'm proud of it.
Long way from home, aren't you?
Depends on what you call long.
What's your name?
Sally Burkoff, if it's any of your business.
My gracious, it's a girl. She done that shooting, did she?
Yeah, it looks that way. Who was it yelled when you fired that first shot, Sally?
Maybe it was me.
It was a man's voice.
Goddamn single-shot rifle.
Who's with you? Who'd you come up from the panhandle with?
Nobody.
How'd you get here?
I rid my horse. How do you think?
Where is it, in the stable?
I ain't got money for stables. He's bedded down back there under a tree.
With what? Did you bring hay along with you?
Some fell out through the fence there.
Fell out through the...
A horse that's been rode hard needs grain. Some grain fall out, too, did it?
There's some left in the feed box over there.
Uh-huh. I see.
Probably draw damp and spoiled for morning. The other horses in the corral had already ate.
When's the last time anything spilled out for you to eat, Sally?
It's my business.
You gonna tell me who it was you shot at?
No, I sure ain't.
All right, come on.
I ain't done nothing, Marshal.
Moss Gremick owns the stable. He might disagree with you.
It was going to waste. Where you taking me?
To feed you. Then we'll see about putting you out for the night.
Put me up where?
And the only place where I can be sure of finding you come morning. In jail.
In the early days of World War II, an organization was born. An organization which offered benefits to all members of the United States Armed Forces. It was formally opened in April 1942 at Madison, Wisconsin, and called the Army Institute. Its mission was to provide educational opportunities for millions of American youths entering the armed forces. The response from servicemen and women was immediate and enthusiastic. Later that year, the facilities were made available to the Navy, and in February 1943, the name was changed to United States Armed Forces Institute. This was the first USAFI. Today, there is a bigger, improved USAFI with 5 branches in various areas of the world. But the mission is still the same. The number one client is still the United States serviceman, receiving an opportunity to develop power through knowledge with USAFI.
Sure was a fine meal.
I'll bet better.
Was that so? Well, just tell me where.
At home, that's where.
Oh, well, that's different. At home.
My ma's too old and broke down for any other kind of work. She's a goddamn good cook when there's anything to cook.
Been kind of hard going, huh, Sally?
It's my business.
Yeah, I figured it would be. Well, here's your hotel, young lady.
Oh. It sure ain't much of a jail.
You've been in better ones, have you?
I ain't never been in none before. Marshal, I don't want to go to jail.
Ah, come on. It's not as bad as it sounds. Just haven't got any other place to put you. Hello, Dacker.
Marshal, I want to report a shoot.
That's him. Give me that gun.
Grab her, Chester. Back.
You low down.
You let go of that.
Oh! You hurt me.
Now, you sit down in that chair and you stay there. Here's your gun, Chester.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Dillon. She grabbed it before I knew
Dagger,
what
what's
she's
all
up
this
to.
about?
She tried to kill me. Now, you saw her do it. And that's the third time tonight. I was waiting here to tell you. First time was about an hour ago near the Dodge House.
Yeah, I know. Why is she trying to kill you?
Just crazy, I guess. How would I know why?
You know why, all right, you sneaking yeller dog.
Sit down, Sally.
He stole money from me and Ma. All we had, $600.
That ain't so.
Wait a minute, Dagger. What happened, Sally?
He come up through the panhandle last fall, fetching a trail herd from East Texas. Fine breeding stock, he said they was, and he sold me 100 head for $6 a head, $3 under the going price.
There, you see, nobody stole nothing from her.
Yeah, I remember that drive of yours last fall, Doctor. You started out with 2,500 head and didn't get here with more than about 400.
I just had some bad luck, was all.
Sure. Them cattle had the chokes, was all through the herd.
Cowpox, huh?
They was dying on him before he hit the panhandle. Only I didn't know it. And he seen a chance to unload 100 of them on me. They started dropping before he was gone 3 days. Last one died 2 weeks ago. And when the chokes gets in a herd, there ain't nothing you can do.
Well, that's one of the risks of the cattle business. You can't blame me for it.
You know they had it when you sold them to
I
me.
don't suppose you told her that, did you, Dagger?
Of course not. When a man's out to make a deal, he don't have to tell what he ain't asked.
Even when the buyer's a girl?
That was a legal sale. Now, whose side are you on, Marshal? I come here for protection.
You mean to have the girl locked up or run out of town, maybe?
I
huh?
sure do.
All right, Dagger, you've made your complaint. Now get out.
Well, now, wait a
I
minute.
said get out.
Marshal, I'm just going to hold you responsible for anything she does.
You do that fine.
Standing up for that little wildcat.
Sally, if I was to let you go, what would you do?
Have another try at shooting Clem Dyker.
That's what I thought.
I ain't likely to miss him 4 times in a row.
All right, Chester, take her back and get her settled in one of those cells.
Yes, sir.
What are you aiming to do with me, Marshal?
I don't know, Sally. I just don't know.
Matt, you look worried about something.
Oh?
It's that young kid, Sally Burkhoff, right?
Yeah. Kitty, I'll be darned if I know what to do about her.
Well, Matt, as far as the letter of the law goes...
Yeah, sure. Let her stand trial. She's guilty of stealing from the livery stable. She's guilty of attempted murder. She'll probably go to prison.
Well, she's young. Court might consider that.
Oh, she's had a raw deal, Kitty. You know, there are just 3 of them, her and her mother and an 8-year-old brother. They couldn't make a go of farming their place, so she thought she'd try running cattle on it. Losing that money wiped them out.
Oh, that Clem Dyker ought to be strung up.
Yeah, but like he says, the deal was perfectly legal.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt. Say, you want to play some draw poker with me and Chester and Miles McTagg?
Oh, not tonight, Doc.
Why not tonight? I've been working all week on my bottom-of-the-deck deal and my up-the-sleeve holdout. I'm ready for you, Matt.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
Is he going to join us, Doc?
Nah, he says not. I think he's just sitting here worrying about that little Sally Burkhoff. And I guess I don't blame him too much.
Well, you might as well sit in, Matthew. I'll likely lose to everybody. It's that kind of a day.
What do you mean?
You remember them ore concentrates, iron pyrites, the stuff I took in on account when the Black Hawk mine closed down?
Yeah, a couple of tons or so, wasn't it?
3 tons. And they allowed $150 for them. Figured they might run twice that in silver. Well, I got the assay report from my Ola today.
What are they worth?
Less than $50. Wouldn't even pay to ship them to the smelter, so you better come get in on the game, Matthew. My day for losing.
Yeah, wait a minute, Miles, here. Just a minute. I'm getting a lovely idea here.
Hmm?
Yeah, it's lovely. Does anybody else know about that assay?
Well, not yet, Doc. Why?
How would you like to get your $150 back?
I have a due and proper respect for money.
Good, good. Are you willing to let any money over that go to a worthy cause?
If I get my 150, I won't even ask whether it's worthy.
What are you talking about, Doc?
Now, who could I get to help? You know, a sort of kindly swindler who could fool somebody good.
Now, look here, Doc.
There's just one person. Me. Matt, it couldn't work without me.
And I'm not sure what couldn't work, Doc, but from the look on your face, it's larceny.
Come on, Miles. We've got work to do.
Another visit with Joe and Daphne Forsythe.
Hey, honey, I'm home. Daphne.
Drop dead.
Uh-oh, what's the matter, honey?
Don't you speak to me, you Don Juan.
Don Juan? Daphne, I'm no Don Juan. No habla español.
Very funny. Ha, ha, ha.
Well, it was no prize winner, but...
Neither are you Lothario.
I've often wondered, what's a Lothario?
I don't know, but that's what the wives on TV always call their husbands. I guess it applies.
Do you want me to go out and come in again?
As far as I'm concerned, you can go for a long walk, preferably on a short pier.
Well. Oh, come on, Daphne. What's wrong?
Your good friend Harry called, and he spilled the beans.
Which beans?
He said, quote, "Tell Joe he was right about those blondes. They're great." Unquote.
Blondes?
That's what he said. Well?
He didn't say blondes. He said bonds. Savings bonds.
What?
Sure. I buy 'em on the payroll savings plan. And I told Harry he ought to do it, too. Savings bonds have a guaranteed interest that pays back $4 for every 3, which is a pretty good investment.
That's a pretty good story, too.
It's true, so help me. That's why Harry's so happy. Savings bonds are great.
Well, maybe you're right. You wouldn't really fool around with blondes, would you? You're too faithful and sweet and kind and...
Fast talking.
It's had plenty of time all the way around, Mr. Dillon. I just don't reckon Doc's little Dido's gonna work.
Well, there's nothing certain in this world, Chester.
Doggone it. I sure wished it had, though. Do my heart good to see that low-down dyker get his.
Are you gentlemen alone?
Well, come on in, Miles. Come on in.
Well, I'd never have believed it. I figured Doc and me ought to team up and do this every week or so.
Yeah, well, you do, and I'll jail both of you. How much?
Oh, you wouldn't loosen up, would you, Matthew? Maybe let me take out just a little profit.
You get $150. Now, let's have the rest of it.
Maybe, yeah. Well, there you are. $820.
$820.
And I think he'd even have gone another 100 if I'd held out.
Oh, this is enough. And it gives her a couple of $100 extra to pay for her trouble.
Oh, he was hopping from one foot to the other. I never saw a man in my life with so much larceny in his soul.
Chester, go get Sally, will you?
Yes, sir.
He had 3 men in a wagon waiting outside. They started loading up the concentrates to haul away the minute he'd paid me. I told the clerk to wait till he'd got them all on the wagon before he gave him that assay report from Iola. Well, I figured he ought to have it, seeing that he owns the concentrates now.
That was real generous of you, Miles.
Well, at least I got my 150 back. I think I'll kind of lay low for the rest of the day, Matthew. He's going to be madder than a hornet when he finds out.
Yeah, I expect he will. I'll see you later, Miles.
Yep. Right on in there, young lady. One.
What are you aiming to do, Marshal? You gonna turn me loose?
Well, that depends, Sally. I can't very well turn you loose and have you walk right out of here and start shooting at Clem Diker again, now can I?
Then you might as well take me back to that cell.
Now, wait a minute, Sally. Suppose that you did kill him. It wouldn't get your money back, would it?
No, but it'd sure give me a deal of pleasure.
Now, suppose you had your $600 back with a couple of hundred to boot.
Oh, if that chance of that ever happened.
Yeah, but suppose it did. Would you be willing to get on that horse of yours and hightail it back to the Panhandle?
Marshal, you don't mean he's gonna give that money back?
Well, here it is. All of it. And $220 besides.
You mean it's mine? I can take it?
You can take it and get. And good luck to you.
Oh, well, I'll be a son of a gun.
Oh, am I busting in on something?
Now, come on in, Doc.
Yeah.
Sally just leaving to ride back to the Panhandle.
The Panhandle? Is that so, girl? Well, you be mighty careful. There's a lot of mighty desperate characters down that way.
Oh, don't you worry none about me.
Sally, you give my regards to your ma and Billy.
Yes, sir, I will. And thank you, Marshal. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well, Matt, it was hook, line, and sinker. I never saw a man get taken in so easy in my life.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, you know, I was born for that kind of a game. I may give up my practice and just start scheming my way through life.
That's a good idea, Doc. I hear that they need a doctor at state prison.
Oh, Marshal, I've been robbed by a pair of swindlers.
Oh? How did it happen, Diker?
You ask him how it happened. He's one of them. Him and that storekeeper, Miles McTagg. $970.
Why, Diker. Now, all I did was come and ask you to loan me $1,000.
Now, you talked like you'd found a good thing. Something you could buy cheap because the owner didn't know what it was worth. And then you let that phony assay report fall out of your pocket when you left.
Oh, why? Oh, now, that was just scribbling. It wasn't a real report.
I know that now. $900 a ton, it said. Why, them concentrates ain't worth $50. I just saw the real report after I'd bought the whole 3 ton.
Well, my. Well, you certainly did jump to a hasty conclusion, didn't you?
Marshal, Miles knew they was worthless when he sold them to me, and I want him arrested.
Did you ask him if he'd had them assayed, Diker?
Well, of course not. If I had, he'd have known. Well, he'd have known...
That you were trying to swindle him. And Doc, too, huh? I'm sorry, Diker. I don't see that you got much of a case.
But he knew that I thought it... Well, I should have known I'd get no satisfaction here.
Well, it depends on whose ox is being gored, doesn't it?
I'm going over and talk to Judge Bent.
Yeah, you do that. Oh, and by the way, Diker, you can stop worrying about the girl. I, just ran her out of town.
I don't care if you...
Wonder how she'll make out down there in the Panhandle.
Don't you worry, Chester. That kid'll make out wherever she is.
That old political character, Elijah Cuddlestone, was tremendously proud to be a part of the government of the United States. And that pride shows through in this excerpt of one of his speeches. And it is my sincere belief, I believe that the United States of America is without doubt, indisputably, the most successful experiment in democracy, that is, in democratic rule, that the world has ever known. Well, democracy, of course, means rule of the people. It's from the Greek demos, people, and kratos, meaning rule, strength, or power. Most forms of government owe their names to the Greek. For instance, anarchy is from the Greek word anarchia, composed of an, meaning no, and archos, ruler. An anarchist wants no king, emperor, or president above him. An oligarchy is a form of government where a restricted few have supreme power. Oligarchy comes from the Greek oligos, meaning few,
and archo, which means rule, ruled by a few. The Greek word hieros meant holy, and the word hierarchy once meant a government by officers of the church. Hierarchy now represents a system of graded authority, and the strange word ochlocracy means mob rule. In Greek, oklos means crowd or mob. Words like these literally make politics Greek to most of us.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The script was specially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Meston. The music was composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns were by Ray Kemper and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Parley Bear as Chester, Howard McNear as Doc, and Georgia Ellis as Kitty. George Walsh speaking. Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
One of the later shows of Gunsmoke is preserved and presented by Armed Forces Radio. Did you notice the name Les Crutchfield in the credits as having been the writer with supervision by John Meston, the man who started it all? Crutchfield was everywhere, and he did a lot of writing for my favorite dramatic detective show, Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. Now a second episode from the historic run of Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful. And a little lonely.
He's right. It is a half-mile wide and a half-inch deep.
What is?
That cussed Arkansas River is. He was right about it, but I sure wasn't gonna let on.
Who was right, Chester?
Oh, some fellow from San Antonio. He was in there in the Long Branch last night bragging about Texas. I told him they got rivers there that's every bit as bad as this one.
Or did you tell him to hang around till the spring rains hit?
I did. I sure did tell him just that, Mr. Dillon.
Whoa! Hey, Matt. Chester.
Hello, Doc.
You fellas tired of walking?
Not if it means risking our lives in that broken-down buggy of yours, Doc.
Yep, well, this'll outlast the three of us. Good as the day it was made.
It's the biggest eyesore in Dodge City, Doc. Why don't you take it down to the river bottom and burn it? We'll start a collection to help you get a new one.
Oh, now, look, hear me.
Hey, let's look yonder. There's a fight, Mr. Dillon, in front of the lady gate.
Yeah, come on. We'll see you later, Doc.
Never later, nothing. I haven't seen a real good fight for a week or more.
Why, that's Chicken Smith, Mr. Dillon.
All right. One side. Will you let me through here, please? Will you let me through?
Well, forevermore, that Prague loomer he's fighting with.
And he's beating the daylights out of him. Turn it on, golly.
All right, Prague. You had enough now? I'll show you who's had enough.
All right, hold it, both of you. Don't make a move toward that gun, Frank.
Some folks would call it self-defense, Marshal.
Chicken Smith never carries a gun, and you know it. But get on your feet now and forget it. All right, everybody, move along now. Break it up. Come on, move along now.
Out of the way.
Now, what started this?
I reckon we just better say it was something personal, Marshal.
I see. Doc, suppose you could take this pair over to your office and patch him up a little?
Well, I will if they come separately, but I don't want another dogfight starting right underfoot.
Won't be no trouble as far as I'm concerned, Doc. I already had my say.
Well, I ain't. But I will before I'm through. I'll pass your offer, Doc. I reckon I'll heal all right alone.
Well, suit yourself, Prague. Come on, Chicken.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can restore your normal ugliness.
You know, Chicken Smith's not ordinarily the kind of a man to start a fight, Frank.
Well, he started this one.
Maybe he figured he had a reason.
Well, I guess it rankled him some that I was talking to his wife. And she wasn't objecting none.
Now, Ellie's not one to use her head sometimes.
Is that her name? Ellie?
Forget her, Prague. And him, too. If he turned up with a bullet in him, I'd know where to come.
Yeah, there's more than one way of getting even, Marshal. I'll see you later.
Now there's a man that can be mean without even trying, Mr. Dillon.
A Prague loomer? Yeah, I guess he can. Come on.
I swear I just wouldn't have figured Chicken Smith had it in him. A fellow that raises hens and gathers eggs ain't usually one to rear up like that.
Oh, Marshal.
What? Oh. Hello. How are you, Ellie?
Marshal, I just wanted to explain that what happened there was just a big misunderstanding. Well, I never saw that man before in my life.
No?
I took some eggs into the store, and he was standing in front. He just passed the time of day with me, was all. I didn't know him from Adam. I still don't.
His name's Prague Loomer. He bought the Lady Gay Saloon a while back.
Well, he's right handsome, you know, in a kind of a strange way.
He's a good man to stay clear of, Ellie.
Well, Marshal, I hope you don't think that... Well, I mean, I certainly will stay clear of him. I sure wouldn't want another misunderstanding.
Neither would I, Ellie. The next one might be fatal.
Well, what do you think, Mr. Dillon?
Well, I'll try one more. Here, let me steady this on the fence rail now. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's hitting where it's aiming, all right. I guess Andy got the kink out of it.
He always does. Takes old Andy a month of Sundays to fix a gun, but once it's done right.
Yeah. Well, there's no point in burning up any more ammunition.
Marshal, you out back here?
Yeah, I'll be right with you.
Sounds like Chicken Smith, Mr. Dillon. First time he's been to town for over a week.
Yeah, I know.
Out shooting one of your prisoners, Marshal?
No, just testing a gun I had fixed. Well, how's the chicken business?
Oh, tolerable. Few of the hens starting to set now. Need some more warm days, though, and a couple of rains.
Well, I guess I don't know very much about them.
Smarter than cattle any day.
How's that so?
Why, sure. Chickens can tell when the weather's going to change and the storm's coming and know when there's a hawk overhead. Hens will run straight to the rooster for protection. They'll stay there as long as there's any danger. At least the older ones. Some of the pullets, they stray once in a while. Them's the ones that get killed off.
I see.
A man can learn a lot watching a flock of chickens, Marshal. Like the way a rooster will fight to the death to protect his hens. Appears some people never heard of that.
You mean people like Prag Loomer?
I reckon he's heard of it now, all right.
Okay, he's heard of it. Let me give you a piece of advice, Chicken. Last week you knocked Prag around some and you got away with it.
A man's got a right to fight for what's his.
Prag's not a man to take a beating easy, not while he carries a gun in his belt.
Yeah, maybe I ought to get one.
You never packed a gun in your life, and you wouldn't know what to do with one if you did. Now, why don't you forget it? That's all I'm saying. It's over and it's done with.
Ellie's too pretty for her own good. That's the trouble. And young. Kind of strays out of the yard once in a while.
She'll learn.
I hope so, Marshal. I sure do hope so.
My land of gracious, look yonder at that buckboard.
Yeah, that's pretty reckless driving.
That's Ellie. Doggone it. I told her once. I told her 1,000 times.
Hola! Good morning, Marshal.
Young lady, you keep handling a team that way, and you're going to roll that rig over a cut bank one of these days.
Well, life ain't worth much without a little danger in it, Marshal. You ready to get on back home now, Chicken?
We got to try to sell them pullets first, Ellie.
I already sold them, and all we can deliver from now on.
A new customer?
That's right. And a pretty good one, too, Chicken.
Sounds like we're finally getting that rainstorm, man.
I've been building up to it for a week now.
Well, I suppose the ranchers are happy, but sure hasn't helped business in the Long Branch this evening. Everybody left early so they wouldn't get cut off by floods in the washes.
Well, you can still count on us, Miss Kitty. There ain't no wash between this here saloon and the jail.
You know, Chester, if there was, you'd still manage to get trapped on this side of it.
Well, if a man's going to get stormed in someplace, he could do a lot worse than the Long Branch.
Well, they might do better, too. Over the Lady Gay, you'd get free fried chicken twice a day.
I ain't been over there even once during the whole 2 weeks, and I ain't aiming to go. Well, as long as Prag Gloomer is running the place. Giving away free fried chicken at the bar twice a day, I don't know.
Well, to draw trade, so he says. Well, maybe that's his reason.
The boys have started calling it the Chicken Smith Hour.
Chicken Smith. So Prag Loomer's their new customer, huh? And I suppose Ellie has to deliver them every day or so.
That's not only that, Matt. She's been slipping into town at night. Real late at night.
Forever more close that door, Doc. What's the matter with you?
I'm good. All right. Man can't come through the door without opening it, can he? Oh, hello, Matt, Kitty.
Gosh, you look like a drowned rat.
Well, we're getting ourselves a rainstorm out there, young lady. It's coming down in barrels. Front Street's already starting to float. Yeah, say. Guess who I just saw on the way over here? Ellie Smith, out in front of the Lady Gay.
Well, I think it's time I had a talk with her and Prag.
No, Matt, there's no law. And besides, he won't like it much.
No, I'm sure he won't like it much.
Another visit with Joe and Daphne Forsythe.
Hey, honey, I'm home. Daphne.
Drop dead.
Uh-oh, what's the matter, honey?
Don't you speak to me, you Don Juan.
Don Juan? Daphne, I'm no Don Juan. No hablo español.
Very funny. Ha, ha, ha.
Well, it was no prize winner, but...
Neither are you Lothario.
I've often wondered, what's a Lothario?
I don't know, but that's what the wives on TV always call their husbands. I guess it applies.
Do you want me to go out and come in again?
As far as I'm concerned, you can go for a long walk, preferably on a short pier.
Well. Oh, come on, Daphne. What's wrong?
Your good friend Harry called, and he spilled the beans.
Which beans?
He said, quote, "Tell Joe he was right about those blondes. They're great." Unquote.
Blondes?
That's what he said. Well?
He didn't say blondes. He said bonds. Savings bonds.
What?
Sure. I buy them on the payroll savings plan. And I told Harry he ought to do it, too. Savings bonds have a guaranteed interest that pays back $4 for every 3, which is a pretty good investment.
That's a pretty good story, too.
It's true, so help me. That's why Harry's so happy. Savings bonds are great.
Well, maybe you're right. You wouldn't really fool around with blondes, would you? You're too faithful and sweet and kind and...
Fast talking.
What's on your mind, Marshal?
Prag, I want to talk to Ellie, too. Where is she?
Ellie? Oh, I guess you mean Ellie Smith.
Where is she?
Now, what makes you think she'd be here at the saloon this time of night?
She was seen here, Prag, tonight and other nights as well, so don't go to the bother of lying.
Man's personal business ain't no concern of the law.
I don't figure it's personal when it's heading toward a killing.
Now, Marshal, it's too late to stand around spinning yarn.
Now, I ask you a question, Prag. Where is she?
I don't know.
She was here, wasn't she?
She left 20 minutes ago.
All right. Left for where?
Home, I guess. She was driving the buckboard, and I saw her off.
You let her leave alone on a night like this with the flash floods running in every gully between here and her farm?
She ain't no lookout of mine, Marshal. She's Chicken Smith's property. Or at least she was. I told you there was more than one way of getting even, didn't I? You're going to be sorry for that, Marshal.
Am I?
Find anything, Chester?
She didn't try to cross here, Mr. Dillon. Looks like she turned north along the bank there.
There's another ford up there about 100 yards.
Couldn't have been too long ago. Wheel tracks ain't rained out yet.
Now, let's ride up that way.
Yes, sir. Be a whole lot easier if we had some daylight.
A man can't always pick and choose.
She could have, though, doggone her. Crazy fool stunt carrying around in the middle of the night, storm like this.
A life's not worth much, according to her, unless it's got some danger in it.
Well, I wish she'd find some kind of danger that don't keep me up all night riding around in the storm.
Look out, Chester. That bank's all undercut along there.
Yeah, by golly, sure is. Breaking off and falling into the water all along the side of it. Mr. Dillon, look.
Huh? Yeah, I see it.
Horses must have broke clear. It's only the buckboard down there.
Uh-huh. Come on.
She might be hanging on the other side.
Ah, it's been rolled, Chester. Smashed up pretty bad by the current. Well, let's see if we can find her.
But where, Mr. Dillon?
I don't know. Downstream somewhere.
Yonder he is, Mr. Dillon, feeding his hands.
Uh-huh.
Well, morning, Marshal. Morning, Chester.
Hello, Chicken.
Morning.
You turned out nice after the storm.
Yeah, did.
Come on, Chick. Come on. Come and get it. Here, Chick. I come out pretty lucky with my poultry here. Only 3 pullets lost their heads and run out into the storm. Got drowned for their trouble.
Oh?
The rest of them stayed in their coops and come through safe and sound. Look at them eat. They're always real hungry after a rain.
Chicken. I'm afraid I got some bad news for you.
I reckon I already know what the news is. I went looking for her when the storm come up last night. I found the buckboard. Knowed there was no use looking any further. You found her, huh?
Yeah, about a half mile on downstream.
Kind of where I figured she'd be. She was a good wife, Marshal. Right sorry to lose her. She was too pretty. She was too young. Only trouble.
And I guess the farm will get lonesome without a woman, huh?
Yeah. That's how I look at it, Marshal. Ellie been slipping out at night lately. Going into town. I've been puzzling over it, not rightly knowing what to do. Now, of course, there ain't nothing to do.
I'm sorry about it, Chicken.
Mighty kind of you to ride out and tell me. Now, you just wait till I finish feeding these hens. I'll ride in with you, Marshal. Save you a trip back out.
Oh, what do you mean?
After I found that buckboard last night, I rode on into town. I wanted to see Bragg Loomer. You'll find him when you get back to town.
Find him?
I took your advice, Marshal, about not knowing how to handle a pistol. I took my shotgun, the same one I used for hawks. It worked just as good on Bragg, only took one shot. Of course, you understand, I was closer to him than I ordinarily get to a hawk. Here, come on, chickies. Come on, get your breakfast.
Gunsmoke. Produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Featured in the cast were Parley Bear as Chester, Howard McNear as Doc, and Georgia Ellis as Kitty. George Walsh speaking. Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
I hope you've been having as much fun this year as I have had researching Gunsmoke and listening to this very, very important series. I mentioned early on this time around that we're lucky to have the shows we do have, people who have worked very hard to preserve old-time radio. Now, I think old-time radio should be preserved not because it's good family fun so much, but because it's part of our American history. I often speak to civic groups, and I do a show called The Fire in the Sky, in which I talk about the history of broadcasting. And one of the things I mentioned is I don't think this country would have won World War II had it not been for the cohesiveness of this country made possible by radio. Whether it was FDR addressing the nation, and only 5% of Americans knew he was in a wheelchair, or whether it was Fibber McGee and Molly dealing with rationing, or all the newscasts, or journalists such as Edward R. Murrow telling the story. Radio has been a vitally important part of our country, not only to give us that sense of cohesion, but to also entertain us with such great, amazing shows as Gunsmoke. And that's it for this time around. I'm Dennis Daly. Thanks for joining me on Gunsmoke Theater as we go back into the archives to play more of the episodes of the radio show that changed everything for the better. Gunsmoke, right here on YouTube.